about how this, NELP, this production sharing contract. Achha, so there is a question about cost recovery ceiling. We'll come to that one. So this, those who have signed, under NELP, those blocks which have been awarded under NELP will continue to be, under NELP terms and conditions. Okay. The new ones, which are being signed under HELP or OLP, that's a different one. Okay. So, so that is why it is important that we understand these NELP terms and conditions as well. And many of these may not be immediately kind of, you may not be able to comprehend all these ideas immediately, but let's, try to understand as much as we can. Okay. So, so then what we were looking at, wait a minute, I think we were looking at, okay, yeah, this is structure of Indian NELP we were looking at. I hope you see this, it says structure of Indian NELP PSC. Because I scrolled through quickly, okay, not yet. So it will show up in a second. So basically, we have this project, and project has, two parties involved. One is government and another is contractor, right? So you have project cash flow, and then, what is that government cash flow and contractor's cash flow? So that is what we were looking at. So gross revenue, basically gross revenue is what you are getting from selling of those, selling of the production that you are, crude oil and gas that you are getting from the wellhead. Okay, so that is what you have gross revenue, and so from there you pay a percentage of that gross revenue as a royalty to the government. So government gets royalty, and so that goes into government's cash flow, as well as your it is also under contractor's cash flow, though it's kind of negative, because you are, that is outgoing from contractor. And then there is a cost recovery. That means you have spent money in exploration, development, all this, and operational expenditure that you are doing. Okay, so all these you can recover from, you can recover, okay, from this gross revenue. Okay, so let's say you have gross revenue of 100 million. Okay, and so 80%, if you have mentioned 80% as ceiling of your cost recovery in the MPSC, model production sharing contract, so out of 100 million you can 80 million, we'll look at workflow as well. So 80 million can be cost recovered. Okay. So that is the maximum when you put that ceiling. Okay, that is the maximum. So you may have cost recovery which may be below that. Let's say you spent only 50 million. Okay, so you are going to do cost recovery only up to 50 million, because that is the ceiling that you have. Okay? 80% is the maximum that you want to recover. And again, if you have, let's say, spent, 90 million or even 100 million, or let's say 120 million, so you can recover up to 80, and the rest 40 is kind of roll over to the next year. Okay, so that 40 million you can put it in the next year for recovery. Additional 40 million for the for recovery in the next year. Okay, so this is cost recovery, and then so after I'll come to that. Okay, I'll come to that. I'll gradually I'll come to these with example. Okay. So after that, whatever that is your profit petroleum to contractor, and there is a profit petroleum that is distributed between contractor and the government. Okay, and depending upon the kind of investment multiple, how much you are investing and how much you are getting back. That's a kind of investment multiple. There are some ratio that is defined, and so let's say some percentage you are going to give that profit petroleum to the government. Okay, maybe 10%, maybe 20%, 30%, so on and so forth. Okay, so so that you are part of it you are going to give it to the government. So that goes into cash flow for government. So government got what? Royalty. They got profit petroleum, part of profit petroleum, and after profit petroleum, what you have is this income tax that you will be paying. Income tax. So sorry, when I write I cannot remove it. Oh, okay, or maybe here. Oh, okay, into that. So then income tax you are going to give to the government. Okay, and so after that you have contractor share of all costs spent, and that is what net cash flow up to the to contractor. So now let us look at this particular example. Okay, let us look at this particular example where where you have this cost recovery ceiling is up to 80%. Okay, so that these number 80%, this is not fixed. It is from it can vary from one production sharing contract to another. This is biddable item. Okay, that means you you have this bid. Okay, when you submitted your bid document, that's where you had put in this cost recovery ceiling, and based on that you get these blocks awarded. Okay, of course not any LP is no longer there, but this is from the past. Okay, and so the only cost let's say during the year are operating costs. So let's say you have spent operational expenditure. This you can call OPEX, right? This you can call OPEX. That is operational expenditure or operational costs, operating costs. So that is, let's say you have 20 million, as your cost, and abandonment provision also that you have to put in. So let's say you are going to put in some 3.2 million for abandonment. Okay, so these are costs that you are going to incur, right? And see, the development is in shallow water, offshore, and therefore the royalty rate is 10%. Okay, on land was 12.5%, shallow water was 10%, and I think deep water was 5%. I think. Okay. The government share of profit petroleum, let's say here, it's 50%. Okay, and then minimum alternative tax does not apply, and capital costs have already been depreciated for tax purposes. Okay, so all these capital costs that you have had, that's been depreciated. That means no longer you have any cost to it. Okay. So and the 7 years tax holiday is finished. Okay, so अरे बाबा abandonment provision तो मैंने कल ही बताया था. Abandonment provision का मतलब ये होता है कि see, when you are going to abandon the area, okay, so that is going to cost a lot of money, okay, to bring the condition to its original, so what you need to do to have this, um, when you are going to abandon it, so of course that is going to be, the land is going to be restored to its original position, so it's going to cost money. Okay? When it's going to cost money, so what you need to do is you need to every year you need to keep that money aside. Okay, keep some money aside for future use of this for this abandonment provision. Okay, ठीक है. कैसे हम लोग ये पेंशन लोग ये करते हैं. पेंशन क्या है कि पेंशन जो है you put in some money from your from your earning aside, you keep it aside, and when you retire, then you start getting money from that from that fund. Okay, so this is what maybe that analogy may not be a good one, but this is what it is, right? When you abandon the area, so it has to be maintained. It has to be brought to its original site. So the thing is, who is going to do that? Okay, who is going to do that? Let's say if company A initially started exploration and development, and then later on what they did is, let's say it sold to company B. Now if there is no money set aside by company A, so then and if company B doesn't know what is the liability provision, so how they are going to manage that? So that is why government says, well, you keep some money aside for when you abandon the area. That's when we are going to use that money to to restore the land. Okay, समझ में आया? That is why you need to have an abandonment provision. Okay? नहीं तो पता चला कि वो कंपनी बैंकरप्ट हो गया, वो कंपनी छोड़ के चला गया, कह कि अरे मेरे पास तो कुछ है ही नहीं, तो कौन किसको क्या करेगा? तो इसीलिए जो है you have to put money aside. Okay? Yeah, that relinquishment penalty is different. Yeah. So here is one example. Okay. Here is one example. So let us look at this step by step, and then you will be able to understand this. So here, let's say this field is producing 9,100 barrels of oil per day. That is 9.1 thousand kbopd. Kbopd is 1,000 barrels of oil per day, right? So that is 9,100. And let's say oil price is 30. Okay. Even though here I it's shown as as a kind of average oil price for a year. But if you are doing it monthly, on a monthly basis, so you have to take into account average price for that month, right? So let's say oil price is 30, and so basically what you have is production times price times number of days. Okay, that's going to be revenue from selling oil. Okay, so that comes out to be 100. Okay, so that's 100 million, maybe close to that. It may not be exactly. If you multiply this 9.1 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 365, कितना हो रहा है? Check it. Let me do that. 9.1 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 365. Okay, so yeah, so 99.6. So you can take this as 100. Okay. Oops, sorry. You can take this as 100. Okay. So now you have this royalty calculation. So now let's see. Royalty is you have this gross revenue of 100. Okay. And then what you are saying is here royalty is based on this royalty is based on this wellhead price. Okay, wellhead price is different from the market price. Okay, typically that's a number that is shown here. It's about 80%. You can safely take that as if the oil price in market is 100, so it's kind of 80 at the wellhead. Okay, wellhead में प्राइस कम होता है क्योंकि जो है उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट वगैरह करना नहीं है. You are not responsible for transporting. Those who are buying it from you, it's they are responsible for they are responsible for its transport. Okay, so you are not responsible, and therefore this wellhead price is taken for royalty calculations. Okay. So here now you have royalty based on that 80%, and so wellhead value is 80 million, and royalty rate as I told you that this is for shallow water. Shallow water you have 10%. For on land you have 12.5%, and for deep water you have 5%. Okay. अपने आप कुछ भी कर रहे हो, कभी प्रेजेंटर बन जा रहे हो, हाँ क्या सौम्यदी, हाँ ऐसा ऐसा काम मत किया करो। लो अभी तो ये है ही नहीं, आएगा। Okay, so this is what you have. So, okay. So you can see that operating cost is 23.2 is abandonment provision and 8 is royalty paid. So that you can recover from this, this total cost that is 31.2, from your gross revenue. Okay, and the ceiling is 80, and therefore you can easily recover that. Let's say if you had, instead of 31.2, if you had more than 80, okay, if let's say instead of 31.2, if you had 85, so in that case you can recover 80 and 5 for the next year, which here it says, you can see here it says unrecovered costs from previous year. Okay, do you see that? Unrecovered costs from previous year. Okay. So if you had cost recovery to contractors more than the maximum cost recovery, then you can put it for the next year. Okay. And so now here what you have is gross revenue is 100, cost recovery is 31.2. Okay. And so your total profit petroleum is going to be 68.8. Okay, that means gross revenue minus cost recovery. So that is going to be your now again he is saying how you are calculating cost recovery. देखो फिर से cost recovery देखो, हाँ इसमें तो क्लियर लिखा हुआ है ना, ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट 20 है, 20 मिलियन, abandonment provision तुमने लगाया हुआ है 3.2, and royalty that you paid, no, see royalty जो है, see royalty as a contractor you are paying it, as a contractor you are paying it to the government, कोई अपने पॉकेट से तो नहीं दोगे ना. Okay, you are paying it to the government. Okay, so that part is recovered from this gross revenue. This money is still not in your pocket. Remember, it's not like you 8 million royalty paid, you are doing this cost recovery and that goes to your pocket. No. Okay, so in cost recovery you can put those. So here he said, as long as 80% cost recovery नहीं होता तब तक. No. See, this 80% per year, this is the maximum ceiling. Okay, don't get confused. This is the ceiling part. Okay, you are not saying that you are going to recover, you are going to recover 80 from this. जब है ही नहीं तो 80 कहां से recover करोगे? You can recover only 31.2. You can recover only 31.2 because your expenditure or cost is not that. अगर कॉस्ट तुम्हारा 80 होता ना तब उसमें से करते हो, लेकिन तुम्हारा कॉस्ट ही उतना नहीं है. Okay, so this is the maximum that you can recover from your this thing. So look at this. This is your gross revenue. Okay, this is your gross revenue of 100, and 31.2 is your cost recovery. That means in some form or the other, you have paid it. That 31.2 in some form or the other, जैसे कि एक्सप्लोरेशन कॉस्ट में खर्च किया है, डेवलपमेंट में खर्च किया है शुरू में, हाँ, तो so 20 was your expression, what was that, 20 million was your operational expenditure, हाँ, ठीक है, तो royalty we pay, so those part is still under in it inclusive of 31.2. Okay, so when you deduct this, so now you have only 68.8 left, because you have 100 revenue हुआ, gross revenue हुआ, उसमें से 31.2 तुमने खर्च कर दिया है already, and that you are you are recovering from here. Okay, see, 80% is the ceiling. Ultimately you are going to recover. Let's say if you had recovery 50%, मान लो कि अगर तुमने बोला कि मेरा recovery, let's say in this case, let's say you had 30%. Okay, अगर तुम्हारा contract में लिखा हुआ है 30% each year करोगे, हाँ, let's say instead of 80%, you say maximum recovery ceiling is not, it's a biddable item. You are going to tell the government how much you are going to recover every year. Okay, 30% भी अगर मान लो कि किया, तो 30% से ये कितना होता, तुम्हारा 30.0 होता, ठीक है, सीलिंग होता, मैक्सिमम सीलिंग. सो इन दैट केस योर कॉस्ट रिकवरी यहां से होता 30.0 इंस्टेड ऑफ 31.2, 30 होता, और जो रेस्ट 1.2 होता वो जो है नेक्स्ट ईयर में रिकवर करते, नेक्स्ट ईयर, ठीक है, वो नेक्स्ट ईयर में कर देते 1.2. ओके, क्योंकि रिकवर तो करना है, बट व्हेन टू रिकवर दैट कॉस्ट जो है, अगर एक्सप्लोरेशन में खर्च किया है तो वो तो रिकवर करोगे ना, व्हेन टू डू दैट, दैट इज व्हाट इट्स, सो सीलिंग. ओके, ठीक है, समझ में आया सबको? There's a maximum ceiling that you, that's a biddable item. अभी भी यहाँ मेरे को नहीं समझ में आया, क्या नहीं समझ में आया, बोलो, पूछो फिर से, ask me. Let me, हाँ बोलो.
सर रॉयल जो आपने बताया था कि
अरे बाबा, रॉयल्टी जो रॉयल्टी तो पे किया है ना, तो पे किया तो कहीं ना कहीं तो खर्च किया ना, ग्रॉस रेवेन्यू से ही, जो रेवेन्यू हुआ उसी में से था खर्च किया.
यस सर.
तो अगर रेवेन्यू में से, अगर तुम्हारा ग्रॉस रेवेन्यू में से, तो कहीं ना कहीं कैश फ्लो में तो दिखाना होगा ना उसको.
ओके, तो सर ये जो रिकवरी पार्ट हम ओके सर, जो रिकवरी पार्ट हम कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं,
हाँ,
तो आप जो अभी 1.2 मिलियन MMUSD का जो बोल रहे थे, अगर 30% होता तो
हाँ,
वो नेक्स्ट ईयर में हम रिकवर करते,
तो वो नेक्स्ट ईयर में चला जाता है. नेक्स्ट ईयर में हो सकता था कि तुम्हारा ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंडिचर तुम्हारा नेक्स्ट ईयर में कम हो जाएगा. मान लो कि नेक्स्ट ईयर में तुम्हारा 10 हो गया, और तुम्हारा अबंडनमेंट प्रोविजन मान लो कि 3.0 हो गया, ठीक है, तो तुम्हारा 13 हो गया, और मान लो कि तुम्हारा प्रोडक्शन और बढ़कर जो है लेट्स से गोज अप बाय 200 मान लो, ठीक है. अगर फॉलोइंग ईयर में तुम्हारा प्रोडक्शन बढ़ गया, तुम्हारा ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंडिचर कम हो गया, तो तुम्हारा रिकवरी फिर उससे करो, ये 1.2 फिर उसमें जोड़ दो नेक्स्ट ईयर में, ये जो अनरिकवर्ड कॉस्ट जो है ना फ्रॉम प्रीवियस ईयर, तो इसमें जोड़ दो 1.2 नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए,
ओके सर,
नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर के लिए।
ओके सर।
Okay, and so basically class पढ़ा रहे हैं. So now your total profit petroleum is 68.8, and out of that what you have is 50% goes to the government. Okay, 50%. Again, it's as per the tender condition, bid condition that you have. So what goes is 50% goes to the government again, and contractor has only 50%. So that is 34.4. Okay. Now, अब ये तो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का पार्ट आ गया प्रॉफिट पेट्रोलियम. नाउ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर इज गोइंग टू पे टैक्स ऑन इट. ओके, तो अब टैक्स पर्पस से लेट अस कैलकुलेट. ओके, सो कॉस्ट रिकवरी टू कॉन्ट्रैक्टर इज 31.2, प्रॉफिट पेट्रोलियम इज 34.4, टोटल रेवेन्यू जो हो गया कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का दैट इज 65.6. ओके, क्योंकि कॉस्ट रिकवरी भी जो है वो किया है तो वो तो उसके रेवेन्यू में ही है, वो तो उस ग्रॉस रेवेन्यू से ही है. सो दैट इज 65.6. ओके, कैश फ्लो इसी तरह से बनाते हैं. ओके, तुम सोचोगे कि प्लस माइनस, ओ ये तो वही चीज पहले था फिर माइनस हो गया फिर प्लस हो गया, बट दिस इज हाउ यू मेक योर कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट. ओके, इसीलिए तुम लोग को जो है ना एससीजी चैप्टर या एसपी चैप्टर का ट्रेजरर बनाया जाता है कि थोड़ा बहुत समझो अकाउंटिंग. ओके, तो इसमें ये सेक्शन हो गया इनकम टैक्स का, ये सेक्शन हो गया कि ये रेवेन्यू हुआ. इसका जो है जब भी इनकम टैक्स होगा तो वो पूछेगा कि इसका रेवेन्यू क्या हुआ, एक्सपेंडिचर क्या हुआ. ओके, रेवेन्यू क्या हुआ, एक्सपेंडिचर क्या हुआ, तो उसका जो है फिर रेवेन्यू एंड एक्सपेंडिचर माइनस रेवेन्यू माइनस एक्सपेंडिचर इज योर प्रॉफिट, एंड दैट प्रॉफिट इज टैक्सेबल. ओके, ठीक है. तो ये मत देखना कि बार बार वही नंबर आ रहा है, तो यू मे गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ओके, कि बार बार वही नंबर आ रहा है. सो डोंट सोचो ओ ये तो पहले भी वही था फिर से वही आ गया. तो सी दिस इज टोटल रेवेन्यू ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो है दैट इज 65.6. ओके, नाउ रॉयल्टी पेड कितना उसने पे किया गवर्नमेंट को, 8. ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट भी खर्च किया है, अबंडनमेंट प्रोविजन भी है, तो टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर उसने 31.2 कंपनी हैज मेड, एंड देयरफॉर 65.6 minus 31.2 becomes 34.4. That is your taxable income. Okay, that is your taxable income, and so tax rate applied as per NELP terms. Okay, 41% tax. Okay, as per NELP terms जो है वो उसे 41% टैक्स दे देना होगा. सो टोटल टैक्स लायबिलिटी जो है 34.4 का 41%, टैक्स लायबिलिटी 14.1 million. Okay, so that is tax liability. That means you are going to pay 14.1 million to the government again. Okay, तो देखो नेट कैश फ्लो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का क्या हुआ देख लो. कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का नेट कैश फ्लो देखो, कॉस्ट रिकवरी था 31.2, प्रॉफिट पेट्रोलियम था 34.4, टोटल रेवेन्यू कंट्रैक्टर का जो है 65.6, रॉयल्टी पे कर दिया 10, ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट उसका जो है रॉयल्टी पेड 10 है कि 8 है, सॉरी आई थिंक रॉयल्टी पेड 8, नो नॉट दिस इज नॉट 10, ओके ये गलत है 8, वो रॉयल्टी जो है वो 8 पे किया है, ओके so and so this is 3.2 abandonment provision, and income tax liability is 14.1, and so that becomes how much? ये जो 49 हो जाएगा ना, यहाँ पर 8 ये हो गया, सो 45.3 टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर जो है 45.3, ओके एंड देयरफॉर नेट कैश फ्लो टू द कॉन्ट्रैक्टर इज 20.3, okay net cash flow to the contractor is 20.3, okay? ठीक है, this is after tax, okay after tax, everything is after tax, okay now what is this question? Bidding is done on the profit petroleum percentage shared, हाँ उसमें जो है इन्वेस्टमेंट मल्टीपल पर वो है, दैट इज अ बिडेबल आइटम, अगेन प्रॉफिट पेट्रोलियम जो है दैट इज अ बिडेबल आइटम, तुम बताओ गवर्नमेंट को हम कितना देंगे, ठीक है रॉयल्टी तो फिक्स है, ये जो है वो कितना होगा, और जो है हमारा सीलिंग जो है वो बिडेबल आइटम है, एंड प्रॉफिट पेट्रोलियम जो है दैट इज बिडेबल आइटम. Now, so that was for the 20.3 for the contractor. What about government? Government को कितना मिला? देखो, government भी बहुत ले लिया. देखो, gross revenue था 100, project cost जो था operating plus abandonment cost जो मिला करके जो है that was 23.2, and so next net cash flow was 76.8, and contractors net cash flow is 20.3, not 20.3, and so government ने ले लिया 0.5. There you go. So government जो है so project का net cash flow से कितना हो गया, 50, ये कितना हो गया देखो 56, 56.5 divided by 76.8, 73.6 or 57. Okay. समझ गए? $100 million रेवेन्यू हुआ, कॉस्ट जो है वो टोटल खर्च उसमें हो गया, निकाल दिया 23.2, और बाकी जो है कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने ओनली कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का 20.3 और गवर्नमेंट ले लिया 56.5. Is this clear to everyone? Okay. So now let us see what it has. Some of these terms it has. Okay. So components of Indian NELP PSC का देखो लिखा हुआ है कुछ. So royalty जो है that is Petroleum Tax Guide 99 में जो आया था, based on that NELP you have onshore 12.5%, shallow water 10%, and deep offshore is 5%. And that too for 7 years, and उसके बाद जो है फिर 10%. Okay. इसमें भी जो अब टैक्स हॉलीडे वगैरह जब कैलकुलेट करने लगोगे ना, तो दैट आल्सो बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट स्टफ. ओके, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट जो है टैक्स हॉलीडे भी देती है ना टू फॉर एक्सप्लोरेशन पर्पसेस. ओके, so that you can expedite your exploration. And typically जो है अगर if let's say government gives you 7 years tax holiday, okay, so that means जब से तुमने बिड शुरू किया, okay, बिड के बाद तुम्हें जब ब्लॉक मिला, अगर 10 let's say 7 years tax holiday है, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि अगर मान लो कि 5 years में तुमने प्रोडक्शन चालू कर दिया, ओके, 5 years में अगर तुमने प्रोडक्शन चालू कर दिया तो 2 साल तुमको टैक्स ही नहीं देना पड़ेगा. ओके, तो वो जो अभी देखा इनकम टैक्स वो सब बहुत सारे प्रोविजन जो है वो 7 years टैक्स हॉलीडे जो है ना, दैट्स अनदर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इंसेंटिव for companies to expedite exploration activity. Okay. Look at this cost revenue के बारे में थोड़ा सा लिखा हुआ है. Under typical NELP PSCs, the contractors can recover various costs incurred within. Rakesh ji. हाँ. नहीं ठीक है, नहीं आप जो भी है आप मुझे एक मैसेज भेज दीजिए, ठीक है, एक मेल कर दीजिए, ठीक है. So that is what you have. The contractors can recover various costs incurred within the area of the PSC. Contractors recover costs from revenue available for cost recovery. देखो अगर जो revenue available है उसी से करेगा ना. This is computed by multiplying gross revenue by the cost recovery ceiling. Okay, so ceiling जो है that you define in your item, bid item, and the limit set of for cost recovery, often referred to as cost recovery ceiling, is negotiable. Okay, as percentage of gross revenue. If the cost recovery ceiling is 100%, okay, then the revenue available for cost recovery is all of gross revenue. Now, that is where all these trouble comes in, because once you say that I am going to have my cost recovery of this much, government is going to say, well, I am going to audit how much is going to be your how you are doing your cost accounting. Okay. So when government says that I am going to do your audit of your cost, तब तो फिर it becomes a kind of very tricky issues, because private companies don't want to have their leisure sheet audited by some other agencies. Okay. तो अब जैसे कि इसमें अब ये the order in which costs are recovered is as follows: royalty पर recover करो, production operating cost recover करो, exploration cost, development cost, any cost which have not been recovered in the previous year, and abandonment provision. All these you can make, all these you can recover from the revenue. Okay, okay. So again, this was the very sticky point where now government has brought this not new model is revenue sharing contract. That means प्रोडक्शन के बाद ही जो है बता दो कि कितना मुझे दोगे, कितना तुम रखोगे, और उसके बाद कॉस्ट रिकवरी तुम अपना करते रहो. ठीक है, तुमको जितना करना है. हाँ, so that is when all this with new contract this have been avoided, all these auditing aspects of costs. Okay. If the total recoverable costs are greater than the revenue available for cost recovery, then the excess costs are carried forward for recovery in the following year or in later years. Okay. अगर ज्यादा है तो फिर कभी भी करो, क्योंकि तुमने तो दिखा दिया कि हाँ जीरो, अगर पूरा रिकवर कर लिया तो जीरो तुम्हारा हो गया, रॉयल्टी केवल गवर्नमेंट को मिला और बाकी जो है इनकम टैक्स और कुछ भी गवर्नमेंट को नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि तुम कॉस्ट रिकवर कर रहे हो सर. If the total recovery costs are greater than, okay, there is some brief description of all these different types of costs. What is production operating costs? What is exploration costs? So you can see these, production costs typically consists of field labor cost, maintenance cost. ये सब operational expenditure जो है, typical operational expenditure cost होते हैं. Okay, and then exploration cost, as you can see, all these, when you are doing some survey, acquiring data, okay, all these expenditure that you have made before production is started, okay, so उसको तो recover करना पड़ेगा ना कहीं. So that is what this exploration cost, you are recovering part of it, okay, gradually. Development costs, okay. So all these costs, okay, you are recovering before showing profit petroleum and giving part of it to the government. Okay. Then you have abandonment provision and all. Okay. तो देखो abandonment के लिए अभी तुम लोग बात कर रहे थे क्या है वो. So that is also called site restoration payments. Okay. That may include costs related to proper abandonment of wells, other facilities, removal of equipment, structures, debris, expenses linked to establishment of drainage, replacement of topsoil, revegetation, infilling of excavations, or any other appropriate action in the circumstances. Okay, so all these things now you can see the NELP में क्या provisions होते हैं. And this is again, it's a very top view that you are looking at. There are further details. If you want to go into details of all these, there will be a lot of details that you may encounter. Okay. ठीक है. So any question? सब समझ में आ गया? आमिर? नहीं. ये लो. अच्छा, no question. Okay. Okay. All right. No question. Okay. What about Chandrahas? Nikhil? Yes, Raj? Any question? Okay. So I guess everybody understood all this. So ठीक है. चलो. Bye.